this point we should stop and hear your questions. And initially, I was supposed to be a moderator, and I've never been a moderator, and I don't know what a moderator does. But, if it means wave to one person who puts up his hands, I can do that, but, or her hands. Is that it? That's the idea? Okay, how about some questions? Now, challenges to, we've got 4 people here ready to take on the world. Yes, except me.
Dr. Richardson, do you think there's any possibility that one part of the solution to the problems Japan is going to continue to face because of its graying, can you hear me? Should I speak more loudly? Can you hear? Because of its graying population would be either both permanent and temporary immigration of some sort, like in guest worker programs where Japanese law would allow the guest workers to earn less than citizens, maybe with the possibility of citizen. That sort of thing is part of the solution in the United States problem.
Thank you. Do you think there's any realistic hope that that could be part of the way to combat the negative effects of the...
That's certainly, it's a logical solution to think of. And as I'm sure you know, there has been a little bit of immigration. I don't know the numbers of Brazilians of Japanese descent. And there's been a very unfortunate case, and I don't want to say too much about it because I don't really know much enough to feel comfortable. But some of them are being, maybe more than just some, I don't really know, are being asked to leave and go home.
For cultural, because they don't.
Does anyone here know about this? Maureen, do you?
I believe that they pay to leave, aren't they? As long as they promise don't come back.
I think that's right.
Yeah, they
That's
get some
right.
kind of a bonus for leaving, as long as they promise not return.
They have to stay at home a long time, fairly, and then to earn points or whatever you want to call it, so they can come back.
No, from what I gather, they, I could be wrong too, but the government wants them to leave, and they are being given a financial bonus to leave. But they can't get the money unless they promise to never return.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Dr. Richardson.
And is the reason they want them to leave because their cultural assumptions?
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
Dr.
I think it's to
Richardson.
open up jobs for Japanese natives.
I think the Brazilians who are being asked to leave it, they were working maybe in the auto parts, sub-assembly industry or something, and then when those jobs disappeared, I think that's why, once they became unemployed, your employment is the basis for your residency if you're a foreigner, basically.
And it was a pressure on local social welfare services and so on. But
I think
still, it's not an encouraging thing to happen in the face of what really is a logical solution at some time point. I probably answered it in the wrong one.
Yeah, because I saw in the media, I don't know how statistically important this was, but because sons who inherited family farms in rural Japan, nowadays it's so hard for them to find Japanese women who are willing to marry them and live that life. There was some, I saw some things in the media, and I don't know if this was just something to attract, razzle-dazzle in the media, if it was a real, if it was a trend with some statistical heft behind it, but I saw mail order Filipina brides going to marry Japanese men who inherited family farms because it was so hard to find Japanese women who would do that. And I think it was in the 90s where I saw that in the media.
Well, this happens. I can't give you statistics. But immigration on a very large scale, which would be one solution, assuming a lot of other things in terms of the ability of the Japanese factories to produce things and services to meet them, certainly has been out there as an option, but not one that has had raving acceptance, let's say. How about some other questions?
I just want to make a comment on the immigration point. I was in Japan, I believe it was during the Koizumi Abe turnover, so I guess 2005, 2006. I was at the press club, and Kono Taro was there speaking, and as you know, he just ran in the LDP election, the president election, and lost. At the time, as it was just said, this isn't a popular idea, this sort of immigration, but Kono Taro, his comments at the press club were, Japan needs to open up immigration, and if I ever become prime minister, I will push immigration, greater immigration. So there are some politicians out there who are braving to make this. Kono Taro obviously is not in a position right now, whether he becomes a future leader of the LDP and a future prime minister, that's all uncertain, but there are some voices out there, but it's not a popular idea.
May I just touch upon very briefly on this topic? It's so difficult to foresee what's going to be either that this could be some trend for the future or not, but Japan's so-called EPA, Economic Partnership Arrangement, which is a sort of expanded FTA with such countries as the Philippines, Indonesia, or Thailand. They have clauses to allow these nationals to be involved in Japanese nurses or social workers or caretakers. And of course, there are some threshold to remain to many years in Japan. They eventually need to receive the credentials to pass the examinations. But however, there are some training periods described, and some easier way to access to this market is described. And these policies are started. So there are some Filipino nurses or Indonesian caretakers in Japan, and this, I don't know, just like I said, this could impact to the future of Japanese working forces, but this is a new phenomenon. Just started a few years ago in Japan.